Hey everyone, welcome back. We're doing our coverage here at E3.
Live at E3?
Want to remind everyone, if you have any questions for us, you can tweet us at hashtag YouTube E3 or ask us questions in YouTube chat. We're lucky enough right now to be joined by Mike Chapman, design director at Rare.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, we were just talking about this in an earlier segment. What's the last big Rare title that came out?
Last big, let's talk before Sea of Thieves.
Yes, before Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, we did Connect Sports Rivals, and then we did the Connect Sports series. It's
Right.
actually I think it's in terms of sales, Connect Sports is like the second biggest Xbox IP of all time.
Is that true?
I believe
Wow.
so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Combined sales, if you add all the IP sales together.
Yeah, some of those motion games early did very, very well. Like Wii Sports it was bundled, but it's the best-selling video game title of all time, which I find to be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean they're great games to kind of pull out and play with your friends. They're they're great things to keep going back to. They sell well at Christmas.
Well,
Well, Rare's a studio that just has an incredible history and
really varied kind of like IPs, and we've done some great stuff.
Right.
Speaking of great games to play with your friends, Sea of Thieves.
Nice tee up.
Got it.
I have not had a chance to get hands-on with it this year. I had a chance to play it last year, and of course I saw the presentation in the Microsoft event, and it seems like the scope has really grown. A lot more has been added in over the course of the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean we've added. I mean in the gameplay trailer we showed at the briefing, we've got we're showing storm gameplay for the very first time. These big epic storms that you can sail through with your friends. You feel the resistance on the wheel. Your ship can get struck by lightning. Your kind of visibility is obscured by this kind of epic rain and these rolling waves. And we showed off riddle quests as well for the first time. So kind of that classic pirate trope of solving a pirate riddle. If you grew up in the 80s like I did, the Goonies.
Right.
That's exactly what I said when they jumped out at the end. I said that's a very Goonies vibe to it.
I just grew up wanting to be a Goonie, and now players can have that adventure with their friends and go find some pirate treasure.
I just recently saw a photo, totally off topic here, but Josh Brolin, who was in the Goonies way back in the day, he just recently cosplayed as his own character from that. So.
I can't watch a Josh Brolin movie without imagining him on the bike. He's
Really?
got the bike with the stabilizers. I can't like watch a Josh Brolin movie with any seriousness.
But what you also showed sharks, which are huge.
Yeah, sharks. So the crew we open on the crew kind of the way it works. You're out there, you're on a voyage. You can see some like seagulls above the water, and that means there's a potential shipwreck below the waves. So that's what we opened on in our trailer.
Okay.
So that crew's having an adventure in the world, and they come across this potential shipwreck. They dive down, they find some treasure. They kind of run out of air. They find the air pocket, and then they've got to kind of battle the way out, and the sharks kind of chase them.
Well, it's so funny to talk about a loot mechanic in a pirate game, right?
Yeah.
Because it's literally loot.
They are the masters of loot.
Exactly. And you had that great moment where they also dug up a chest, found a chest, dug it up.
Yep.
And I had a really specific question watching it. I hope you can answer it about that mechanic.
Yep.
It appears as though you can't open the chest until you get it somewhere.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a really intentful design decision. So, I mean, the cool thing about Sea of Thieves, I mean, I'll give you the tee up to the answer, where, it's a world where you can live out your pirate fantasy, and the best thing is you share it with your friends, but the magic, that kind of secret sauce of Sea of Thieves is the fact that there's other crews out there in the world doing their own thing like you are. They're having their own adventures parallel to yours. So you could come across them anywhere in the world. So one of the reasons we made the chest this physical object was the fact that it could change hands.
Right.
So that chest that you get at the end of that voyage, it's in the gameplay trailer, that on the show floor, it's never really yours until you get it back to an outpost. And it gets cracked open, and then the gold gets shared between the crew. That was a deliberate choice. So that chest is like it's a catalyst for stories and encounters between players. That's kind of a deliberate choice that we made.
And I'm assuming an outpost, when you say that, you mean literally it's a location you have to go to. So even if you get it back to your ship, it's still not yours.
It's a complete physical object. When you get it back, you got it on your back, you haul it up the ladder, and then it's like, right guys, where should we hide this? And someone will go, hey, let's hide it in the crow's nest. No one will know it's there. Or let's hide it on the lower deck. It's up to your crew where you hide it. So imagine you're out there, you're doing all these quests, you're finding these chests. Some could come from these directed specific quests you go after, like the riddles that you choose to go after. Some could come from just things that would surprise you, like you found some chests in a shipwreck you've just come across. So on your ship, you've got all these chests, maybe some you've stolen, some you've found on island, some you've dug up. And then it's kind of your nerve, really. Like, when do we go back to the outpost?
Right.
Do we push on? But then you get all these cool stories of coming across another ship in the bay. There's proximity chat as well, so people can hear you when you're on voice comms if you're near them. Enemy crews can. So you kind of all going, right, guys, it's going to be really quiet now. And you sneak on board their ship, and you go to their lower deck or wherever, and they've got like just a chest, just full of chests, like a treasure hoard on board. you know, you get to have the ultimate pirate moment of pillaging a ship.
That sounds fantastic.
It's epic.
Yeah, and the proximity chat is, I love that mechanic in games where it's just you get close to somebody, you can automatically hear anything over their mic.
Yeah, it's such a special thing, especially in our game as well, where you know you could go to an island and then think you're completely alone, and then you just start hearing voices like you're in a cave, like, guys, I don't think we're alone here. Yeah. And then everyone's getting really scared, and then some skeletons pop up, then you're both fighting the skeletons, then you both fight each other. You know, it's just these great moments happen.
So how is there a structured organization of the way the crews work? Like, are you bound to a certain crew, or can you like swap between your friends and different crews?
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing that was really important for us was like we didn't put barriers in place for who you play with, or you know, friends you can play with. So you know, you can play with whoever you want. You can have a mixed group of friends. There's a matchmaking system, so we'll find a crew for you. And when you're in a crew, you know, you're not kind of locked into any way of play. So you know, you can choose the play style you want to kind of build a reputation in. So you're on this quest to craft a pirate legend. You're on this quest to become a legendary pirate. But you kind of progress and build your legend in the play style you like. And it's up to your crew to choose what we're going to do today, guys. You know, we're going to go do bounties, or we're going to go do treasure quests, or should we just explore and find shipwrecks? It's kind of up to you, really. And when you're in a crew, you're not locked into being the cannon guy or locked into being the guys on the wheel, because every game of Sea of Thieves plays differently, because you're in this shared world. And, you know, we've got all these kind of mechanics in there that take you by surprise. So no two sessions play the same. So it was important that for players on the ship, they can, 1 minute they're on the wheel, then they just detach, then they go get on a cannon, then they go load the cannons for somebody else, and then they go grab a plank and repair. That free-form nature puts the emphasis on the crew to decide. Now, how are you going to strategize? How are you going to react to all these things that happen in the world? That's kind of the magic of it. That's what makes it play differently each time. Makes it different.
Yeah, even last year when I played, I experienced that, where I realized I was terrible at firing the cannon.
Yeah.
So, all right, we've taken a few hits. I'm going to go below decks. I'm just going to work on fixing the ship. Someone else, it's your turn to shoot.
I'm not good at this, so I'm going below decks.
I'm going to take my hammer, and I'm going to go hit the ship.
Sorry, everybody. Well, when you say sessions, too, can you describe that a little bit? You know, because it's a game, when you first look at it, it could be a persistent world, it could be a match. You know, how does the session work?
Yeah, so for the session on the show floor, you're already kind of on a voyage, you know, to kind of get people into the kind of gameplay. But the way a session works is that, you know, you form a crew at the start of the session, and then you kind of go to quest givers. So you visit an outpost, and there's NPCs there, and NPCs, you know, they kind of have a role and purpose in our world. So they kind of specialise in different play styles. So depending on what you want to go do, you can go get a quest from these people, and then between you as a crew, you know, you've all got your own maps and go, what we're going to go do, and then you kind of vote on the kind of session you want to have, and then you head out into the world, you find the chest, and you find other quest rewards that are also physical, and then when you get them back to an outpost and you get the gold, that gold is shared equally amongst the crew, and then that gold is yours. You can't lose it at that point. You've banked it. You've overcome that challenge, and then it's up to you, right? Do you want to invest in? Do you want to get more quests with like the treasure hunters or some other play styles, or do you want to customize your character, customize your ship, get some new weapons? You know, there's kind of a deep progression system, but the choice is on the players on which area do you want to go deep in. It's kind of up to players.
And so those things that you bank, like the weapons or items when you get them back, and your gold, then that persists between sessions?
Yeah, that's entirely. So you create a character at the start of Sea of Thieves, and you're kind of going on this quest to become a pirate legend. So you're going that kind of zero to hero kind of like arc as a character. So you're starting in the game, you've got to the Sea of Thieves, and then you're building your character up, and you're becoming a pirate legend.
So I've heard you use the word becoming a legend a few times. Like, is there a meaning behind that? Is there something in the game that you're aiming for?
Well, it's kind of a cool thing we kind of like realised early on in the game's development was that, you know, when you think of all these like classic pirates, everyone's got, you know, the Blackbeard and the Calico Jacks, Dread Pirate Roberts, and, you know, who can forget, you know, Jack Sparrow, of course.
One-eyed Willie.
One-eyed Willie, yeah, guy. Exactly, yeah, he's still just there. No, he escaped the cave, didn't he? He escaped the cave at the end. But yeah, we didn't want to have NPCs that took the limelight, that took that limelight away from players. We want players to have the chance to become the Blackbeards of our world. This epic pirate world where you can live out your pirate fantasy. We want players to build up that reputation, where your reputation can precede you. That's kind of, I think, what's really special about the game.
So, like you said, like the Jack Sparrow moment, you have heard of me.
Well, it's you turning up on our crew, having that Jack Sparrow moment where I look at you and go, oh, cool hat. yeah, nice outfit, nice sword. And I'm like, so you've been doing you're a legendary treasure hunter or you're a legendary explorer. And kind of make a judgment on you based on the weapons you have, the kind of how you present yourself, the name you have. You know, you're building up that legend across kind of several kind of things that are visual to other players.
That's kind of scratching my old World of Warcraft itch, where you could look at someone's gear and quickly assess, you know, what have they done. And how much have they played this
Exactly.
game?
It's so important in a game like ours where it can be a great icebreaker, where you meet someone and you're kind of like eyeing each other, like, what quests have you got? You know, have you got anything good we could go do today? Because you bring that quest to the crew and you kind of need them. You need them to sail the ship, but you all share in the reward. And you've got that icebreaker of, yeah, nice hat. There, I really want one of those. What did you do to get that? And then it kind of breaks the ice a little bit, and it's a great way to bond the crew.
See, going back to the 80s now, game I used to play, Sid Meier's Pirates.
Yeah.
To me, this is like the game that was in my head. Like, this is what I always imagined what I was doing, you know, and sailing around and listening in taverns and things like that.
Yeah.
You really did the same thing over and over again, but in my head it was all these different quests and these big adventures, and it's now I get to actually live that with Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal game. I adored that game as well.
Really great game.
And also, like, can't forget Monkey Island. If like viewers are old enough to remember that game, like, such an impact on such a lot of people, I think. And what's great about Monkey Island, obviously, was the kind of colourful characters and the tone and the humour. And I think we're doing a really good job of capturing that as well with the grog, the musical instruments, and a beautiful art style, which feels like this fantasy pirate world you just want to step into, get lost, and have adventures in.
So if you don't have, so how many players is it per crew? Is it 5 or 6?
Yeah, so it's 4 players on the ship.
Okay, 4.
I mean, we chose that number because it felt like it's a good kind of decision around the roles that you do. But the thing is, because we've got our insider program, so seaofthieves.com/insider, all the gameplay that you saw in the gameplay trailer and what we've got on the show floor, real players are playing that now. So anyone can sign into the insider program on our website and you'll have a chance to play. So our game's coming out in early 2018. But players, as we go to early 2018, we'll be doing more and more playtests. We're already doing playtests on a weekly basis, but we're going to do bigger and bigger playtests. We add more progression. We add the character creation stuff in there. We want to get more players in. So please join our expanding community. But yeah,
I'm signing up right now.
To kind of to answer your question on the crew size. I mean, that's one of the things. What's so great about our program, because our game is so unique. Kind of that, like, what's the right crew size? What's the right amount of time before you encounter another ship in the world?
Right.
Because our game is so different, that it's so great to test it with real players. So every time they play, we look at the data, we send them questionnaires, we get their feedback, and we're already, I mean, they're loving the game, by the way. Like, people are falling in love with it. Like, the reaction we get on the show floor is the reaction we get at home, and people are coming back every week. Some people are playing a ridiculous amount of time in the game.
And that's a heck of a statement, because the lines at E3 this year are ridiculous, because now it's the first time it's ever been open to the public. So people are trying to come back and have the experience again. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, at home, we kind of asked them to kind of rate the features in terms of fun scores. I mean, incredible scores we get. Lots of feedback around the features, and we balance it based on their feedback. We prioritise the features we put in the game. We're working on a lot of stuff, and the things we kind of turn on for them first is kind of based on their feedback. So we're really building the game in a new way, I guess.
Well, it definitely seems like that. It seems very core to the philosophy of the game itself, because last year at E3 in 2016, that was the first experience I had seeing Sea of Thieves, and your presentation, huge part of the Xbox presentation, it was all centered around just following a crew and listening to their native gameplay and their audio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've shown off a hell of a lot more this time, and actually showing off actual quests, and we're talking a lot more about the progression system. So, yeah, kind of the game is kind of getting bigger and better, and it'll continue to do so.
And speaking of getting bigger and better, is this the kind of thing that once it comes out, you'll still add to it, this world, or?
Yeah, I mean, already, as I talked about becoming a pirate legend, players are already crafting their legend, not only just giving feedback, like technically and like balance on features, but they're also kind of having adventures in the world, and they're making their mark on the world. So some of their most engaged players, like the people who kill the most skeletons, or kind of key forum members, we're renaming parts of the world after them. So people have got taverns named after them. We've got we've got one guy who's like Amir, who's one of their biggest super fans. He kind of died from the most fall damage. So there's somewhere on an island. He's found this, by the way, which is an incredible moment. There's just a skeleton's feet sticking out of the ground, and his name scratched into a rock. And one of the first tests we did with real players, the first person to die, we actually saw this live. We're all at Rare, kind of watching all the data come through as people are playing live. The first person to die, when you die, you go to the Ferry of the Damned, which is a ghost ship, by the way. And I'll explain that mechanic in a moment. So we scratched his name into the ghost ship. As almost like who's the first person to spend some time on the ghost ship.
What an honor,
Yeah.
and a shameful monument at the same time.
Really the time to make your mark on the game then.
Well, absolutely. You know, we want people to just join this community, and we're having this great dialogue with them. But like your original question around like continuing to support the game, like we want to get players into the game. Like already we've seen players fall in love with it. When we throw this world open in early 2018, as long as we've got players in their game loving it, we're going to continue to support it. We're going to continue evolving it, make sure that world reflects their deeds. You know, this is an incredible experience. We hope to continue building it for a long time.
Fantastic.
And I assume you'll have some type of matchmaking for people who might be playing on their own, who don't necessarily have any friends who have the game, can find other people.
Yeah, we
we
already have that now in a technical alpha. That's already there, and players will also be able to play in a small ship as well. So although you'll always be in that shared world, because that's the magic of Sea of Thieves. If your friends aren't online, you'll be able to head out there in a small ship. That'll all be there in early 2018.
So like a small ship by yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I mean, you've still got that great gameplay of you can still see a sail on the horizon and know other crews are in that world. But you know, if your buddies aren't online, you've still got the option to go out on a small ship.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't think that you would have any single-player ability. Okay, that's really cool to hear. Because I know sometimes it can be hard to wrangle all your friends.
It's just about giving players the freedom, right? Giving players, I mean, living the pirate life is all about freedom, and a game needs to reflect that. Let players play in the way that they want to play.
Well, it's such a great, new style of play, and your approach to it is and Rare as a studio, you go all the way back to like GoldenEye.
Yeah.
When it's hard to remember this, but there was a time when people didn't think you could play a first-person shooter on a console, and then Rare did it with GoldenEye.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was incredible at the time. GoldenEye, and I guess the mighty Halo came along.
Yeah, I think those are the kind of what changed people's mind. But
yeah.
I mean, GoldenEye doing it on the N64 was mind blowing.
Yeah. Phenomenal game.
I'm also a huge fan of Viva Pinata, so anytime you guys feel like making another Viva Pinata game, just let me know.
I mean, the art director who kind of defined the look of Viva Pinata is the same art director on Sea of Thieves.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a good pedigree.
Art style, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, it's been great talking with you.
Thanks.
I'm super excited. I'm most of the way through the survey right now. I'm going to finish signing up for the Insider program.
And I'm about to close this tab.
Come aboard.
All right. So thanks for joining us.